sweetie child. Jive talking back, gonna drive your wheel wild. Wheelie, wheelie, wild. Wheelie, wheelie, wild. 2023 is gonna be a good year for all of us. We're gonna have a lot of good things happen to us. And now it's time to jive. Jeez. They just come out of me. I'm like Shakespeare or Beethoven. I'm kind of like him in a way. Welcome back. How many episodes is this now? Episode 58? I think that's a 5 and an 8. So that's 5 on one hand and then that many on another. And we're back and we're doing it and we're keeping it up and we're going to keep going strong. You can find this on Spotify and watch the video or listen to it on Spotify. You can watch it on YouTube. If you want your comments read on this each episode and they're not rude like, hey, you big fat bastard that has a lousy beard, you can you put them on the YouTube video. Then the following week I read those and we have those right here. Right there, ready to go for you. But first off, no, that's not Jason Voorhees. I know you guys think it looks like Jason Voorhees when he comes out of the swamp water in that first movie at the very end. Spoiler alert. It was his mother that did the killing. But that is actually Devin Townsend. And I saw this story about where he turned down the opportunity to become the singer for Judas Priest. So I wanted to read a little bit about that one. It's not the godfather of heavy metal. He's the metal god is who he is. And I don't know who makes his outfits, but by God, they need to get a hold of Kiss for sure. Is it the same people? I bet you he wouldn't even wear anything that was made by the people that make Kiss's stuff. But let's read this story and see what's up with it. We got some very interesting nugs here this time around. During a recent conversation with the SDR show, Prog Mastermind, and he is a Prog Mastermind, Devin Townsend talked about how he declined a chance to become Judas Priest's new singer. Upon Rob Halford leaving the band in 1992, Tim Ripper Owens took on the role of band vocalist. However, Judas Priest was interested in looking for a new singer during that time. They put an invite out to several artists to audition, and among those artists was Devin. So he turned down the job, but he went in for the audition. Speaking about being invited to, audition as the new Judas Priest singer, Townsend shares the following as transcribed by Loudwire. Technically, yes, that happened. But it wasn't like they were knocking down my door. Basically, they threw out a blanket thing to a bunch of singers. Warrell Dane, from Nevermore, Sanctuary, right? Myself and a couple of others. That's interesting. Warrell Dane's got a very interesting voice. Would that pair well with Judas Priest? But I also remember thinking that singing was this thing that happened to me. But I also remember thinking that singing was this thing that happened to me because of my involvement with Steve Vai, because I never really set out to be a singer. I learned to sing, and he can sing the hell out of some stuff. He could probably break one of them wine bottles. Because I was a guitar player, most of the singers I auditioned, I didn't relate to. Townsend goes on to add the following, speaking to his vocal skills. You listen to that song, what's it called, Genesis? Listen to him sing on that song, and then go, wow. Speaking to his vocal skills and the expectation of singing like Halford, and this is Devin Townsend here, but as a result of that, the technique that I had was so shoddy that I hadn't got to the situation with that level of expectation to sing like Rob Halford. Dude, I'd be crucified. Could you imagine Devin Townsend as the singer for Judas Priest? That would have been surreal to see here. He is a prog rock extraordinaire, and he's got a fantastic voice. He's done Strapping Lad and a bunch of other projects. The guy's always busy, but I don't see him as the singer for Judas Priest. But what say you? You can get down there in the comments below and tell me all about that. Gene Simmons, now Rolling Stone put out their top 200 best singers. And in that, they had an image of one frumpy dump, Glenn Danzig, who likes to give me strikes on my channel. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. Glenn Danzig in the top, but he was 199th out of 200. I don't know who 200 was, to be honest with you. But Gene Simmons, he's basically chimed in. Gene Simmons fires shots at Rolling Stone for low rating Ozzy Osbourne on Best Singers list. I thought he was going to take a shit on Ozzy. And I think Ozzy comes in at like 14 or something. But let's read and we will learn together, shall we? Recently, Rolling Stone published a feature naming the 200 best singers of all time. Among those included, the publication gave a shout out to several artists from the world of rock and metal. Among those artists is Ozzy Osbourne. Out of 200 artists, was ranked 112th. Yeah, that's pretty low. Paul Stanley's not on that list, right? During a recent interaction with the TMZ reporter, Kiss bassist and singer Gene Simmons was asked what he thought about Ozzy ranking among the list. Well, when it comes to that feature, Gene is not much of a fan. In fact, he thinks Ozzy's low ranking is a crime. Here is what Simmons had to say about Ozzy's Rolling Stone ranking as transcribed. That's a crime. You see what I just did there? He always likes to do that. That's a crime. Look, somebody sits in the back room, Jan Wenner, Rolling Stone co-founder, and those guys. They sit in the back room and they decide things. Nobody asked me. Did they ask me? Apparently not. You see what I just did there? The reporter also asked Simmons how he feels about Kiss not being included on the list at all. Gene Simmons replies, well, that's okay. I was thinking of buying Rolling Stone. Oh, Gene. Gene continued talking about this recent RS feature. Well, it's skewed. You have to consider who's popular and who's not. But if you really think about it, how good somebody sings may be part and parcel of what they do. For instance, if Jimi Hendrix, who had a short career, but he was very famous, would he make it on American Idol? That's a very good point. How about Bob Dylan? Bob Dylan's not making it on American Idol. And I wrote songs with Bob Dylan. You see what I just did there? And I wrote songs with Bob Dylan. I know the guy. We make it. Would he make it on American Idol? I don't think so. How well you sing is not the most important thing. It's do you have style? So that's why I'm very good. Because it's like I'm not a good singer, but I just have a good style. Do you have a fingerprint that says, I know that voice immediately? Right, that's a good point. Because there are those vocals that you hear and you say, I know who that is. You don't have to tell me. That's Fred Mercury from that Queen band. When asked where he thinks he would be ranked if he were included in the list, and he's self-aggrandizing, whatever that word is, he likes to say, I'd be 400th or something, because he's... it says, what does he say? I don't give a fuck, really. Okay. Thanks, Gene. There's Gene. He's got that mask on. He's still wearing the mask around. But he's elderly, so that's a good thing that he keeps doing that, I mean, when I get into like a bus situation, I might have an extra mask on me or whatever, just in case. They come in handy for all sorts of flying, now that this whole pandemic thing has happened, you really start to think about every other disease that people have. And there's plenty of coughing, farting, spitting, and everything on the public transit. Believe me, since my car died, I know all about it. And then Dee Snider, he's got a few things to say. They're all talking about vocalists, but Dee Snider here says that he doesn't think that Robert Plant is much of a frontman. That's crazy coming from Dee Snider, but okay, let's see what he's got to say. Over on Twitter, Dee Snider shared that he does not think Led Zeppelin's Robert Plant as much of a frontman. This is as much of a frontman, but it is much of a frontman. Prior to Snider, that's a great, like a sitcom. Like him when he's just starting up Twisted Sister, prior to Snider. Making this statement, he wrote a post speaking to the talents of late Rainbow and Black Sabbath drummer Cozy Powell. This tweet ends up spiraling into Snyder and his followers having a little bit of a back and forth debate regarding who is considered a talented frontman. One of Snyder's followers brings up Led Zeppelin's Robert Plant being a great frontman, and D has quite the opposite opinion. Per D. Oh! Yeah, what does he sound like? Oh, I'm a huge fan, blah, 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 Plant, fan vocally. I'm a huge Plant fan vocally, but he showed me nothing as a performer. Looked amazing, great hair, stood on stage with one hand raised and sang his ass off. Not a frontman in my opinion, and FYI, many great frontmen are not great singers. So he was putting the caveat on there for himself to go, by the way, before you start pinching my tits over here saying, what about you're not nothing? Yeah, you got the makeup on, you're flip-flopping all over the stage and stuff, but you're not Robert Plant, right? Can we agree on that, or do we disagree? Put that in the comments. But that is only controversial opinion that Twisted Sister singer Dee Snider has to. But that is not the only controversial opinion. Let's see what others got. Upon mentioning the late Ronnie, don't you talk about Ronnie James Dio, Mr. D. Upon mentioning the late Ronnie James Dio in that initial tweet about Cozy, a follower of Snyder expressed how they believe Ronnie to be the second best frontman in rock history. Right after you, D! Just barely behind, look, Fred Mercury. Fred Mercury, didn't I just mention him? Of Queen. Fred Mercury of Queen. I just mentioned that to you guys. In response to this, D makes one hell of a claim, retweeting this response and writing back, you are confusing singing with performing. Don't tell me that Ronnie James Dio wasn't a performer. He did the whole heavy metal horns and everything else. He was like a mystical demon wizard on stage. You can't say he wasn't a great frontman. You are confusing singing with performing. There is a huge difference between a great frontman and a great singer. Ronnie was one of the greatest singers of all time, but as a frontman, you are high in your ass, pal. He pretty much just stood there on stage and sang. Freddie was an amazing singer in tighty whities, tight Levi shorts, and I like to be on the front row to see. Oh, the D. Snyder didn't say that. He pretty much stood there on stage and sang. Freddie was an amazing singer and frontman. D doesn't know what he's talking about. You can't say that about Ronnie James Dio. It's just completely wrong. These are both controversial points. What do you make of D. Snyder's points when it comes to both of these legendary artists? Do you agree or disagree with him? I like that the Pit does this. Then they just lay the question out for me to just say to you. Next up, Nita Strauss. She wants to talk about, I wanted to see what this was about because it says Nita Strauss reflects on sexist advice she had received early in her career. And I don't know if she's going to name names, but somebody was probably saying, if you want to make it in this business, you got to do some sucking and fucking, and you got to do some stuff. And she doesn't strike me as the kind of gal that just sits back and puts up with bullshit. Does she look that way to you? You want to walk up to her and tell her, hey, honey. No, you get punched in the chops. Early on in her career, guitarist Nita Strauss, who has played for the likes of Alice Cooper and Demi Lovato, received some cringy, sexist advice. Among the suggestions she received, one comment involved her showing more skin. I mean, I like to see skin, but, But Nita didn't let this advice get in the way of what she wanted to do and be known for. During a recent conversation with Tori Kravitz, is that Lenny Kravitz's daughter? And Alicia Atout of Knotfest, she's with the band. Nita reflected on the sexist advice that she received while also speaking about how she stayed headstrong in pursuing her goals. The following is transcribed. And I'm going to try and do my best Nita Strauss here. Yes, early in my career, I got a lot of really bad advice. I mean, lots. I was a young girl. I was a young guitar player. I started this career really, really young. I did my first national tour at 15. Jeez! And dropped out of high school at 17 to try and do this full time. And at the time, I had so many people telling me what I need to do in order to be successful in this industry. People saying, you need to show more skin. If you have a boyfriend, you can't say that you're dating anybody because you need to appear available. That's not true. What about Alyssa White Goltz? She doesn't mind telling people that she's dating Doyle from Misfits and the Doyle Band. And she's still as beautiful as ever. And, you know, I don't think anyone's... And Doyle will beat your ass if you go talking to Alyssa. Go backstage and try and say, hey, hotcakes, why don't you get over here? And have Doyle give you a smack in the chops. And that guy, he's a vegetarian. A lot of peanut butter that guy eats. You need to show more skin. If you have a boyfriend, you can't say that you're dating anybody because you need to appear available. All this kind of stuff. And looking back, obviously, that's not the kind of attention that I wanted to get. I wanted to be known as a guitar player, and that was it. Yeah. So once I realized that, I went the complete opposite way, and I started really dressing down. I dyed my hair darker, not brown, but darker blonde, to stand out less. And I'd wear men's large t-shirts on stage, baggy cargo shorts, so you look like Limp Bizkit. Or like, no, not Limp, like Sepultura, like Max Cavalera or something, baggy shirts and camo shorts. And started touring with heavier bands. So she likes the Demi Lovato kind of pop rock, but she's doing the Iron Maidens and Alice Cooper and all that. And I was like, I don't want to be the hot chick. I just want to be a guitar player. And that's not who I am either. And I kept getting pulled back and forth and to and fro through this dichotomy of like, I just learned that word, dichotomy, of like, no, you have to be sex symbol. And no, you don't want to be known for that. You have to just be a serious musician. And the reality is where I am doesn't fit into either of those molds. And it wasn't until I started just dressing how I want to dress and acting how I want to act. And yeah, if I have a boyfriend, I'm going to tell the world about it because I love him. I love him deeply. And I don't need to appear single, and I don't need to have fans. Isn't she dating like the drummer that she always plays with? Like, I thought that was her boyfriend. And I don't need to appear single, and I don't need to have fans think that they have a chance with me, because they do not. They're disgusting. You've seen them out in the audience? They're so gross. Ugh. In order to be respected and have people coming to my shows. And once I just started embracing who I actually am as a person, what did I tell you last episode, everybody? And once I just started embracing who I actually am as a person, that's when great opportunities and great success started to come to me. And that's exactly what I told you if you listen to the Jive Talkin episode 57. I said that to you. You got to embrace yourself, love yourself, and every freaking flaw. You got one nut. You got a nipple that's bigger than the other. You got a crooked ear. You got a scar across your face. Whatever. Embrace it all. Love it all. That's how you do things. And when I was trying to just fit into some mold or another mold, I was just chasing something that wasn't authentic. Exactly. It wasn't really who I am. So I just wish that I could go back and tell my younger self, stop trying to fit into what other people tell you you should be and just be who you are. Get up out of your seat and give Nita Strauss a standing ovation, because that is absolutely right on the money. If she wants to dress sexy, she can do it. If she wants to wear cargo shorts, she can do it. But she's got to embrace herself and be her, and not let other jerks bother her. And that's what you need to do if you're not doing it already. You know, everyone's got something about themselves that they go, God, I'm no good. Or maybe you've had someone in your life that tells you you're no good. But you get over that. You say, that person's stupid and they're wrong and they're dumb. And they're dead too, so I'm happy about that. Drink break. You gotta love yourself, people. I mean, it is the simplest thing, but it's the simplest thing to say, but one of the hardest things to do. Last story, then we get into your comments here. Have you ever heard of Till Lindeman? He's the singer for Rammstein and his solo band Till Lindeman. And it says here that a German police report a statue of Rammstein's Till Lindeman was stolen. I wanted to learn a little bit about this and see how big this thing was, because they love Rammstein. Everybody loves Rammstein. There's no doubt about it. As a report by NDR details translated via Google, a statue of Rammstein singer und Till Lindeman has been stolen. This statue, located in Rostock, Germany, was created by a local artist by the name of Roxy Rocks. And they got that Roxy Rocks is the handle. So if you want to go find Roxy Rocks on Instagram, ROXXY_ROXX, Roxy Rocks. Roxy is a big Rammstein fan and created the statue of Till Lindeman as a gesture towards the singer's 60th birthday. Per an Instagram post of their feature, the statue, Roxy wrote, "Early happy birthday at Till Lindeman official. I made you a statue. Till Lindeman was born they do the weirdness, don't they? Is that January? Or do they do it right? April 1st, on April Fool's Day, 1963, right? Am I wrong? January, February, March. April 1st, in Leipzig, and grew up to become the biggest rock star of Germany as the singer of famous band und Rammstein. Und the statue is located in Rostock, Evershagen, in front of the house where Till lived in his youth. Made with lots of help by," and then there's another @0_deadbeat_0. "However, this statue has allegedly once been stolen." Per NDR, the statue was allegedly stolen around 10 a.m. Wednesday morning. For context, the statue had been up in public for less than 24 hours. How heavy was it? You can't just put something made of styrofoam on someone's front lawn and expect it to stay there. At the time of writing this, there is no confirmation of who or how many individuals were involved in this alleged theft. "It is such a damn shame if the statue was stolen. Roxy and Deadbeat did an amazing job creating this work of art." You can find images of this Till Lindeman statue below. Let's see. Oh, I mean, it's a good statue. But I mean, okay, so he goes to the guy's house where Lindeman doesn't live there anymore. So they plop this down on the guy's front lawn, and maybe a half hour after they left, he said, "I don't want this garbage on here. If I hit this, will it take me to Instagram?" Oh, there we go. I mean, yeah, that looks like Till Lindeman. I mean, it's pretty creative. I think the way they do those is it's kind of a copper, like a bronze situation there, but it's kind of some bronze. He probably made the whole thing out of clay, and then I guess they just liquefy it or whatever and paint over it or something. I don't know. You guys get down there. You're the artful people. You tell me all about it, okay? There it is. Till Lindeman. Let's get into your comments, my dear friends. We got old Mike Buchanan here. I've been doing the, newest thing since Miss Althea was saying something about when she hit the newest, that her comment was there for some weird reason. So we got Mike Buchanan coming up. "I'm back from London, you bleating blatty baggers. Happy New Year, everyone. I did not see any Beatles other than in pictures, and I can report that Abbey Road crossing is something to see, but the road is still very active, and those that drive or live in that area get really pissed about those stopping traffic just to take the picture." Yeah, because you got to do was that Abbey Road, the album, where they did and then they said that Paul McCartney was dead because he's not wearing shoes? Is that the way that went? Get in the comments and tell me. Still Mike Buchanan here. Phil's first album with Pantera is power metal. Actually not a bad album, and Phil can actually sing. I know that from the Cowboys from Hell. I don't know if he can sing anymore, but, Cemetery Gates will tell you, by God, he can sing. He sounds nothing like what he did on Cowboys from Hell, which, if it wasn't for Cowboys from Hell, which I just learned that logo, CFH or whatever, we all would be like, who's Pantera? I agree. I will say, yes, seeing a band in dive bars is way better than those arena shows, but that's me. Going out on a limb, but I would think that Rob can get into any show he wants just by showing up. He better. If the metal god shows up at your concert, you don't say, tell him to pay $5 at the door. You let him in, and then you beg him to get up on stage with you. Sebastian will pay the $5 to get into your gig and get up on stage with you. And here he comes with some New Year's jokes. It's time for the Jive Talkin with Shane D jokes of the week. Here we go, baby. What did the grape say when he got stepped on? Nothing, but he let out a little wine. Oh. That's how they make the wine, right? They stepping on it with their dirty feet, their dirty bare feet in Italy. What did the green grape say to the purple grape? Breathe, you idiot, breathe. Because the green grape is not getting enough, it's not oxidized. Oxygenized. What's a pirate say when he turns 80? Hey, matey. When he turns 80? Hey, matey. Oh, I'm 80. I'm matey. I guess an A-I. I'm matey. What did the pirate say when he had a heart attack? Arg, me hearty. That's getting hard. I like that one. That one will piss off my son later when I say it to him. I'm a good monitor at that now. What will piss him off and irritate him, or what will make him laugh? This one right here will piss him off. All right, let's get into Oscar Salvador. He says, happy motherfucking 2023, Shane, and all the Jive Talkin motherfucking fans. Shit. Hey, we're not fans around here. We're family. If you're listening to the Jive Talkin, you're part of the family. You understand me? Senior Diablo, we appreciate your continuous research. It's a constant. It's what I do. Insights and jovial attitude. Thanks for making us laugh and bringing this community together. That's what I want. That's what I want, is a big community of music-loving fruitcakes. We trust these endeavors continue for years to come, and I don't have any plans to ever stop. I highly enjoy all of it. So, Oscar Mark. Okay, You'll always be Oscar to me. There's your heart, my friend. Ryan Wade coming in. I was friends with a dude from Texas who introduced me to Pantera in 1988 with I Am the Night and Power Metal. I was familiar with them, but we just about crapped our skids when Cowboys from Hell came out and ripped our faces off. The same dudes moved to Seattle in 1989 because The same dude moved to Seattle in 1989 because some friends said that the music scene there was happening. He used to send me copies of the music newspaper, The Rocket, to check out all the bands that were playing. I always remember these two, Cat Butt Grunge and Sandy Duncan's Eye. Oh my gosh. Yes. What was the show? Sandy Duncan, and then she sold Triscuits. Miss Althea's going to get right in on this. I remember the Triscuit commercials, those little biscuit crackers. Sandy Duncan, she had a glass eye. She was like Sammy Davis Jr. He told me the coolest band with the most buzz was called Alice in Chains and sent me a flyer taken from a telephone pole. Wow! Probably worth some money these days. And when Facelift came out in 1990, I felt so cool for being the only kid in upstate New York who knew who they were. I'm not going to lie, the first time I heard Man in the Box, I went, I'm going to buy that tape. And when you bought Facelift, it came with a VHS of like them playing like 5 songs, black and white, playing 5 songs live. By the time they opened for Kiss in 1996, that's because he's bringing all this up because we talked a little bit about some uncovered footage and they opened for Kiss. In 1996, they were barely even functioning band. As a Kiss fan, I'm sure it was a dream for Jerry to play that show, so he's a fan. Pretty sure they called it quits after that. He had the Deftones opening on a reunion tour here in Albany, New York. I got a head nod from Chino outside the venue. I'm going to tell you guys a great story about Chino, and you're not going to believe it. We had the Deftones opening for the reunion in Albany, New York. I got a head nod from Chino outside the venue before the show, most likely because I didn't look like the sea of older Kiss fans. I was the perfect age to have grown up a Kiss fan, but to be hip to the new scene at the time. Excellent. I think you should immerse yourself in as much music as possible. If you like a little hip hop on the side, whatever it is, I think you should. It's okay to like grunge and it's okay to like deathcore. You know, you can do it all, right? Those days are over. When you were in school, when I was a kid, you had to be a closet Depeche Mode fan, you know, The Cure or whatever. Because I was a metalhead. I had the hair, I had the jacket, I had the cassette Walkman and everything. But I ain't gonna lie, I listened to Purple Rain and I listened to, you know, Depeche Mode and all that. But you didn't go around spouting it off. Nowadays it's different. Now the more music you get into, the better. You're more knowledgeable, right? I was the perfect age to have grown up with a Kiss fan, but hip to the new scene at the time. They were great, and it went right over the crowd's head. I heard a guy say, "More like the Tone Deafs." Oh, I can hear it. I can hear it right there. "More like the Tone Deafs, I'll tell you what." And I immediately hated this guy's guts. Hey, Shane, check out the song. Just kidding. I put it in Patreon. There you go. That's the way we do it. That's the way you do it. Sha-na-na-na-na. Miss Althea coming in. I got your heart there, Ryan, okay? Oh, Chino Moreno story, very, very quickly. I can't remember what tour it was, but they did a tour with a Downset and some other bands. I can't remember, but I went to the fairgrounds. I asked my buddies. We practiced at this big building that had 60 bands in it. You rented a room each month, and you paid $250 a month or whatever, and you could have all your shit set up all the time, come and go whenever you wanted. We're at that place after practice, and I said, "Deftones are here. Should we go to the show?" "I don't want to go. I don't want to go." So I decided to go over by myself. I went to the show, and this was the time of the big straight edge scene that was going on. And I walk up. I don't have a ticket. I don't have anything, but I had managed to get in through the fairgrounds and jump and stage dive at the Offspring when they came. So, anyways, when I get there, there's the stink of peppermint spray or something in the air, and all of the security are outside gagging and choking. So someone hit him in the face. And I just walked right into the venue. No one looked for a ticket. No one asked me a question. I walked right in. I walked right up to the front of the stage. The Deftones came on. They're playing. Chino climbs up on the top of the fucking speakers above my... I'm down there in the audience, and he's above me. And I'm thinking... You know, he's doing that whole, "Oh, everybody, I'm woozy. And I'm like, well, he's not going to fall off, right? He's not going to just drop himself on these unsuspecting victims and hurt their arms, and he did. He fell off, and so I get the brunt of his between his shoulder blades, right? And his shirt is sopping wet with sweat. And now we're trying to push him back towards the stage, and there's probably 10 people that are all holding him up, and he's doing the floppy doll, you know. And then they start tearing the shit out of his shirt. And then he says something when he gets back on stage about, "Hey, that was actually the singer for so-and-so's shirt, man." But they tore it into shreds, and on my fingers, and now you're going to say to yourself, "Bullshit, Shane, you were tearing at his shirt." because you're some kind of a sicko and you were trying to tear it off. But I ended up with a sopping wet bit of this t-shirt. And so I put it in my pocket and I watch the rest of Deftones and I leave and I go back to the rehearsal place where we've been practicing. And they're in the exact same position they were when I said, no, we don't want to go. And like it was out of a freaking movie, I take this big wet piece of cloth out of my pocket. I throw it. And like it was a piece of meat, it slaps in my friend's face and sticks to his face. And I just said, that's Chino Marino's t-shirt from the Deftones. You should have went. Anyways, let's get into Miss Althea. The Dumbstruck Fool says 1996 would have been the makeup reunion tour. Oh, with Ace and Peter for Kiss. You're right. I saw that. And I got the year wrong in another video. And then some guy's like, he's lying, dude. But I'm bad with years. But I do remember 1996. Yes. I remember them taking some risks in bringing out bands who were considered grunge as openers, as opposed to more mainstream rock acts. Powerman 5000 opened for them in my arena, and there was a mixed reaction with the crowd, like half accepting of the next gen rock grunge, half, what is this crap? Like that dude. More like tone deaf to me. Den and I thought they were decent and enjoyed their set. Sounded like the folks at this particular show were erring on the side of the latter with Alice in Chains, which was unfortunate for them, I think. I mean, 1996 and they're at the end of it. Do you think that there would be more people, I mean, even Kiss fans, I feel like there would be a hell of a lot, because they'd put out 3 records by then. Plus Mad Season did, you know, the Mad Season stuff Lane Staley did. So I feel like they would have had a massive audience there. Still Miss Althea. It would be hilarious if Mantis got into Christian metal. Praying Mantis. There is a band called Praying Mantis. But that would be fantastic. He should do that right now. I know that was bad. No, it wasn't. It was fantastic. Mike B is like, really? Mike, are you saying that right now? Really? I have been a fan of the Monkees since birth. I love that show. And it was 100% true that Neil Diamond wrote, I'm a Believer. And they turned it into a hit. I've heard Neil Diamond's version of it. It's a hit. And then who else does it? Get yourself a Diet Coke if you said Smash Mouth. As well as several other fantastic tunes recorded by them. The incredible Carole King, yeah, great writer. Quite a few too. R.I.P. Davy Jones. They're all gone except for the drummer, right? Davy Jones, Peter Tork, Mike Nesmith. So Davy Jones was the cutie patootie. He was the singer, and everyone, every 12-year-old girl in the world wanted to tear his blouse off. Peter Tork was the guy that had the bowl haircut, and he was kind of, looked a bit, red hair, kind of nerdy-esque. And then Mike Nesmith was the guy that always wore the ski mitten hat. Still Miss Althea, Happy New Year, everyone. As RuPaul says, you better work. Turn it to the left. Work it, girl. Oh, if you can't love yourself, how the hell you going to love somebody else? Yes, it reminds me of another great quote that doesn't really apply here, but I apply it anyways to my each and every day. Winston Churchill, who would have said, when you're going through hell, keep going. If you're having a shitty time, keep going and get through it and get on. Another great piece of advice from a song, You Can't Bring Me Down by Suicidal Tendencies. It's all right there. Everything you need to know, read those lyrics, you'll say, yep, that's my new motto in life. There's your heart, Miss Althea. I'm very frothy today. Maybe I need another sip. I don't know. Talking to you guys gets my lips wet. And then, John's life, You got to come up with a good John's life. I mean, it's a TV program. It follows Different Strokes on Wednesday nights on NBC. John's life. Do-do-do. Greeting from the boring Brit. You're not boring, okay? You're hanging out with us. We're pretty cool and we're very exciting. Hope you had good New Year's. Still John here. What are your goals for 2023 then? And I would love everyone to get down, and you can even like put them in the reply straight to John or whatever. I'm a single 32-year-old, and yes, you're right. I've not touched oh yeah, it's guitars now. He says he's got 37 of them. I've not touched 8 of the guitars in a little while, but can someone really have too many instruments? I have 4 drum sets, and I just gave one to some friends of mine that their son, they all moved to Texas, and I gave them a drum set because the sons are very talented little songwriters. You know, the kids today are amazing. They get on the computer programs and they learn 5 instruments, and then they, you know, it's crazy. I would just like to see, John, I'd just like to see you dust them things off and maybe do a couple paradiddles, picadillos on it, okay? If you got 37 guitars, you pick each one of them up every day, you give it a little dusting, you do a little picadillo, put it back in the case, move on. But you don't know what they're saying about you, you know, in the darkness. When the cases are closed and the lights are off and you're out of the room, they might be going, son of a bitch. He should get rid of us and give us to Zach Wilde so he can play us. I bet Zach could play us every day, all 37 of us. Anyways, and John's life once more, and he's finishing this off for this episode, and the joke was a bad sex joke. I'm not good at telling jokes, as you saw. I won't ever bore you with a bad joke again, yet. I can't remember the joke now, but maybe that's a sign that it was bad. But you know what? My brains are fried. I will be 50 years old this year. I know, people tell me I only look like I'm, 30, but my bones don't tell me that. They say, I was out shoveling snow the other day. I had one of those senior moments where I kind of got winded, where you kind of go, oh, you can't just keep doing this. You have to stop and take a break and breathe for a minute so the dizzies go away. All right, let's get out of here. Loving you so much and wanting you guys to, now is the time to seize the day. Now is the time to take what is rightfully yours. And what is rightfully yours is your spirit, your spunk, your tenacity, your health. You can only do these things for yourself before you can start doing anything for anyone else. So keep that in mind and hold to your New Year's resolutions if you made some. Don't dog out and start smoking again the first time you go, oh, they've stressed me out. If they wouldn't have stressed me out, I wouldn't have bought the pack of cigarettes, but now I did. Just hold tight, okay? Here we go. No, God. One of these days, we're going to get over that. No. No. Oh, yo, 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 yo. Wish I had Mike Patton singing right now. Can we get him to come in with a Jive Talkin? Jive Talkin, Shane D. Jive Talkin, Shane D. Jive Talkin, Shane D. 2023.